My very special guests in the studio tonight are Jerry and Mark from Devo, the band that put the new in new wave so many years ago. How's it going, fellas?
It's going great.
Now that's Jerry over there, and Mark, you want to give a quick shout so people will get...
It's going good or it isn't.
Depending on how you look at it, of course. So you have a new LP out and a new 12-inch called Disco Dancer, which is also featured on the album Total Devo. That must feel good after quite some time absent from the music world.
It feels good to have a voice again.
Yes,
no doubt about it. But, it's a sad song. He's a disco dancer, but he has nowhere to go.
True. Was that a slag, or was that a...
No, we're trying to find a place for him to go.
Okay. So you're trying to find this man a home.
He's right now on a trek from the West Coast to the East Coast. He's walking. It's a benefit. He's raising money for genetic engineering, coming to New York. We expect him on Thursday. We think he's going to show up at the World on Thursday night around 11 or so.
And that's where you guys will be?
We're waiting for him.
Okay, so you'll be there Thursday night, and we're talking about the World Club, which is, I believe, 254 East 2nd Street, or something like that. The address should be, 254 East 2nd Street. 50 feet
from the corner of Houston and 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. And Avenue C.
It's Avenue C.
Right around there. So will you be there Wednesday night as well? I know you're having a special tryout party.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. We'll be there Wednesday night, too.
So you guys are taking up residency there, pretty much.
We're holding auditions for 4 hours from 6 to 10 p.m. for the karaoke contest, where we've done a cover of the Elvis Presley song Don't Be Cruel that Holland Dozier wrote 31 years ago, and we always thought it was one of the most Devo Elvis Presley songs we ever heard.
Holland Dozier wrote it?
Yeah, Elvis gets credit on everything because that
Elvis and Otis Blackwell got credit on the LP, actually.
Yeah, because actually it's because of Colonel Parker had the ultimate deal with the artist, the ultimate deal, the devil deal. And so Elvis got credit for everything, but of course Colonel Parker took 50% of all of Elvis got credit for.
Do you think Colonel Parker now possesses 50% of Elvis's soul now that he's gone to the hereafter?
Well, some might think so. It's a metaphysical question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we're really prepared to answer that. I don't know if we're qualified.
In the tradition of Mr. Spock from Star Trek, I think he would refrain from answering. He'd take the fifth dimension on that one.
Not logical.
Not logical. Exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah. In fact, the deal wasn't logical. That's the whole point. But then that is the world, and that is where we'll be tomorrow night. So back to the point.
Do you want to explain a little bit about karaoke for our listeners who don't actually understand Japanese?
It's I thought in New York everybody knew about karaoke. Only in Los Angeles didn't they know. But it's where the vocals are removed from popular songs, and the normal person in a club, in the karaoke club, gets up and sings his impression or rendition of that song. So there is self-expression involved, originality, like putting on the hits. Originality at 29.
So it's like
this
when you go.
This is going to be better though than a regular karaoke contest, because usually, everybody has a different song, but on Wednesday and Thursday they'll all be singing the same song.
And that will be "Don't Be Cruel."
"Don't Be Cruel," Devo's version of Elvis Presley's version of "Don't Be Cruel," and they'll be singing it. And what that does is it's the great equalizer. It allows the audience to really have a basis for judgment, because the winner will be on stage with Devo in their 1988 tour. So the winner in New York will be on stage. If we're at Madison Square Garden, he will sing "Don't Be Cruel," and we will back him up live at Madison Square Garden, for instance. So there must be a basis for the audience to judge. So Devo will be in the position of the celebrity panel, and Howie Montag and Anita Sarkos will be the MCs, and we'll have our high-tech, infallible applause meters ready for that winner.
Now, who else is going to be on the celebrity panel? How else are we going to be judged if we should be, wanting to be contestants?
5 members of Devo will be there.
Okay.
Everybody in the audience will be a celebrity voter, though.
So it's going to be by applause through the audience.
And interpreted by the members of Devo,
right,
like delegates.
So we're not just talking vocal quality here. You got to have that everlasting stage presence as well. I mean, if you're going to get the audience moving in New York City.
We're looking for people to reach deep down inside themselves, basically. Of course, now if they should wear rubber gloves, because ever since Coop has come out with his information, as we know, that it's not safe to reach deep down inside yourself without rubber gloves.
Now, will you guys be performing on Thursday as well, or will that just be a party?
two big things will go on Thursday with the karaoke contest first, and then we're going to come out and do
a prophylactic performance, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're all going to come out wearing rubbers over your body?
Well, we always do. When you grow up in Akron, you have a rubber Teflon kind of coating. Keeps one dimension between you and the real world. But we're going to do Disco Dancer, Ivan Ivan's remix version. And the important thing about this is that all we're trying to do is document the real events at the World. So everyone who comes that night will be in the video. Mm-hmm. The video will be shot while we perform, and it will be cut together for MTV and all other TVs,
really?
Night Tracks, and any other person will show it. And so the video would be a documentation of the real thing that goes on that night at the World. And we did it already in Los Angeles on June 4th. And by cutting the two sets of footage together, we're going to show the contrast between the Los Angeles mentality and the New York mentality. So I think people should show up and make sure that they
fairly represent New York.
They fairly represent. That's right, the Big Apple, so that
kids in Iowa don't get the wrong idea.
The wrong idea. So
Exactly.
that LA is put in proper
here.
perspective. Yeah, there ain't no palm trees in NYC.
How was the turnout and response to the karaoke thing in California?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it really was.
You guys are pretty much local legends out there, though, I would assume.
Yeah, so we had, of course, police protection being local legends, and we're actually infamous is the word.
Mm-hmm.
Infamous.
Now, you say you're going to be performing the 12-inch remix that Ivan Ivan did. Actually, you're going to be doing that without Ivan Ivan's assistance, probably live. But how are you going to be able to recreate the samples and all that kind of stuff?
Well, no, we can't. It will be, a lot of it will be on tape. I mean, that's the truth. The point is the event, not... We couldn't come to the city and play a live concert at this time, which we really wanted to do.
Why would that not be possible right now?
It's a very complicated thing. I mean, you need a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of crew, blah, blah, blah.
Permission from your parents,
Yeah.
just things like that.
Yeah.
You run into a lot of roadblocks with the folks these days, Mark?
Well, they like, General Boy likes to keep a tight line on Devo. Leash.
Now, the song that we're going to hear in just a couple seconds is Disco Dancer, and it seems, in the early 80s, when you guys were doing, I guess, circa Freedom of Choice, Whip It, all that kind of stuff, you seem to be making fun of, the current disco craze. Then not making fun of it, but moving alongside of it, but doing something completely different from it, yet incorporating a lot of the elements that made disco, like the synthesizers and stuff like that, but you guys were doing it in a more rock and roll context.
Actually, that's pretty accurate.
We always liked some of the elements of disco. It kind of reminded us of back in the 80s, early 80s, of a beautiful woman with no brain.
We weren't. The only inaccurate thing is we were not making fun. Here's the only thing Devo has ever been interested in is combining levels. We don't like things that exist on one level. We think that's not accurate. That doesn't represent how the brain works. We really like combining several levels at once simultaneously, and making sure there's a subtext and something else going on to interest people. So we think the brain and the pelvis ought to pump together.
As opposed to an individual unit working separately.
Yeah, because that's not the way things work. I mean, the spine connects the weenie and the brain,
Is there a video for Disco Dancer yet?
No, it will exist as of June 9th.
After the karaoke party?
When we film at the World, then we will combine that footage with Los Angeles and show in the video, by documenting the two parties in LA and in New York City, the contrast between the behavior on the coasts. And that will be the video for MTV and other TVs.
So we're not going to actually follow the trials and tribulations of some slicked back, hairy-chested, gold chain-wearing cliche
We didn't have the
man.
budget for that.
Couldn't afford him, right? Just walk into Brooklyn, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it is a Rip Van Winkle story. It's like it's a sad story. It's like John Travolta wakes up in 1988
with no place to go
at the World. Right? Imagine that. He'd be scared.
Were you about to say something, Mark, before we cut you off, sort of?
Fortunately, I wasn't.
Okay. Otherwise, trouble could be happening, right? So why don't we take a listen to the new song, remixed by Ivan Ivan. You can find the original version on the brand new LP, Total Devo. It's called Disco Dancer on WNYU FM's Club 89. That is the Ivan Ivan remix of the current single from Total Devo entitled Disco Dancer. And Mark and Jerry from that band are in the studio with me right now, chatting about the new LP, the remix, the karaoke party happening at the World tomorrow night and the ensuing finals on Thursday night. Hey, if you want to be a video star, head down to the World. If you want to tour with Devo, actually, if you want to perform in New York City with Devo when they come back for their actual New York shows, you can,
Then get
be
down
a part
to
of
those
it.
auditions tomorrow,
Exactly.
6 to 10 at the World.
It's a chance to make somebody's career.
Is it free to get in, or what are the criteria there?
Bob Casale there from Devo.
We're trying to get Bob on the phone here. I don't know if we're going to put him on, but Jerry's going to talk to Bob on the phone while I chat with Mark a little bit, I guess. So is it, like I said, free to get in, or do people need these special passes that you brought down, or?
I don't know. What
It's
do they
both
charge?
free and pay. It's many are called, but few are chosen, as you know.
It depends on who you know, right? In this town,
we
always.
have nothing to do with it. We want to wash our hands of this matter. We have no control over the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who enters as a contestant, of course, will be admitted to the whole evening free.
Okay.
Anybody who's chosen.
So do you want to explain to us the theory of de-evolution a little bit? Or devolution, if you would pronounce it that
Well,
way?
it wasn't so much a theory; it's just an observance of the nature of energy in the universe.
Is it your
Yeah,
answer to Darwin?
I think if you took the 5 o'clock news for the last 5 years and just
Cut it together in fast motion, 60 frames a second.
that would be de-evolution.
The famous. He was just in Newsweek, and I keep forgetting his name. The famous astrophysicist.
Oh my God, the
confined
guy who
to
was
a wheelchair who can't talk.
That was
he
just
talks
this
through a
week.
computer.
Yeah, I
Right,
read
okay.
that. Incredible guy, seems like.
Yes, now he's devoted in himself, but
Do you send him your records?
we should actually.
You should really,
We should actually, because he talks about the fact that only in this part of the universe does time go one direction.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably him calling.
Yeah, right. And in other words, they already know that in other parts of the universe, there's no need that time goes one direction. There's no basic reality or physical principle that demands that. It just happens to be so here. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It's very interesting. I mean, you guys are very foresightful people, it seems, because actually after you get out of music, if that should ever happen, you guys will probably have careers as philosophers and such, taking on the Darwins.
Probably will have careers
Stand-up
as maintenance
comedian.
men.
Yeah.
Stand-up maintenance men.
So keeping in theme with Devo over the past years, you have these nifty little suits on the cover of the new LP with Mr. Happy Sad Face in the corner, or actually on the upper collar of all of them.
Well, you can't have one without the other.
One, you mean a suit without a happy sad face? Or
happy without a sad.
Okay. It seems inspired, the happy sad face, that is, by maybe the theater masks, the famous happy mask and the sad mask representing the arts or whatever that represents. I'm not
This
too
is kind of like a McDonald's representation of the tragicomedy tradition.
And the mouth is what ties them both together. Actually, I don't know.
It's always the mouth that does it.
You can draw a lot of things out of these, but you don't have your happy sad faces on now. On the
Hello?
jackets. So we got Jerry answering
Sure.
a couple phone calls here. If you'd like to speak to either Jerry or Mark, I guess you guys want to take a couple calls?
Yeah, we'd like to make some new friends here tonight.
Okay, the number is 212-998-1818 if you'd like to talk to Jerry and Mark of Devo.
Yes.
And while they take a few calls, why don't we listen to their version of Elvis's version?
Okay, one take Jake, and Are You Ready to Change the World?
We'll play those later. No problem. Tell them after the interview's over. We'll take care of them.
You got that? You Are
Yeah,
You
we
Ready
got
to
those.
Change the World?
We'll play those later.
He says yes.
And we'll play them later, tell them. So if you'd like to call up and
One take
talk
Jake.
to Jerry
we
or
got
Mark.
an extra big one-take Jake version.
We got him, and he's going to
before.
play him.
No one's
He
ever heard
said
it
that.
before. It's the greasy mix.
So we're going to play your version of Don't Be Cruel, which is what you will have
Cradle.
to sing your own vocals to.
Don't be cruel.
You'll have to sing your own vocals to this tomorrow night at the World in order to be a winner of the karaoke contest.
That's right.
You'll be judged by a celebrity panel. Once again, the number is 212-998-1818 if you'd like to talk to Jerry or Mark of Devo. And while they do that, we're going to listen to this cut from Total Devo, Don't Be Cruel. WNYU's Club 89 Devo from Total Devo, their version of Don't Be Cruel. What inspired you guys to do that anyway in the first place?
Elvis is one of the most Devo performers
Of all time?
of all time.
Yeah.
And, Don't Be Cruel has just always been one of our favorite songs.
Yeah. Ever since he said, when Mama died, a part of me went with her, we gained a new respect for him.
Mhm.
And we've always been wondering what that part is.
And maybe those inspired by Elvis, maybe the spirit of little Elvis will come through them Thursday night at the World.
Mm-hmm. As Mojo Nixon said, Elvis is everywhere, so...
Elvis is everywhere. Someone just came into the control room, we might add, and said, could he rap those lyrics? And the answer is a resounding yes, because we want people to know they do not have to imitate the style. They can do whatever they want. That's the whole point.
So they can rap it, they can speak it if they want, without any dynamic inflections.
Twist it.
They can do whatever they want.
They can actually genetically mutate it. That's what we're looking for.
That would be sort of difficult, though. I mean, that would be the obvious winner if they can do that, but...
That is the obvious winner every time.
They're going to have to come in with like an atom smasher and hit themselves on the head with it a couple times or something like that. I don't know.
Or just a good idea.
Seriously, were you guys influenced by Elvis at all? I know countless number of performers, musicians, artists were.
His outfits were always an inspiration to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could have had the yellow suits without Elvis.
Mm-hmm. Is that where you got the inspiration to have the very uniform-looking suits all through the career, even up to now?
Well, you noticed how glamorous they were, didn't you, Lee? I mean, they, cinched at the waist and everything to show off the body as they were.
True. I don't know how glamorous they were, but they were very unique and different, and they quite a bit set you guys apart from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, we were also inspired to force-feed Boogie Boy after seeing One Big Life, the Elvis film.
Mm-hmm. What'd you force-feed him?
Dreamsicles.
And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Mama's thickening gravy.
What happened to him after that?
He was happy.
Big smiley face, huh?
As a matter of fact, he was a happy guy. What do you think? Happy guy.
I think he could have been a happy guy. That's a nice little reference to one of the tracks in the LP there, which we'll be hearing in a little while.
Oh, okay, well.
So what do you think? I mean, why... A lot of people would have been asking me to ask you this as well. I wanted to know, why was the absence of Devo from the music scene such a long one?
We were actually bitten by snakes, and it took a while to recover.
All of you, collectively?
Yeah, I'd say so. It was, we were very depressed. We went into a kind of a suspended animation, kind of like aliens when they finally get out of the cocoon siesta phase there. They pop open those little... suspended animation. We were in suspended animation, actually.
So it was like coma or something like that. Aliens, when they're in the little pods, sleeping for years and years and years before they come out.
Yeah, we had to wait till we could forget.
The past?
Yeah.
Do you guys not like to talk about the past, or is it something you would like to erase from your memory? I mean, you were a very influential band, as it goes. So many bands that incorporate synthesizers into their acts today might not have been doing so if it wasn't for you guys, being a predominantly, synth yet guitar band as well.
The cliche in the music business is pioneers get scalped.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Well, we found out that it's based on actual truth.
Truth is stranger than fiction in this case.
Every time.
Yeah.
We did say in Whip It, give the past a slip, and then we forgot our own lesson. And this is what happens when you don't practice what you preach.
We didn't read the fine print. There was a John Wayne Gacy clause in our contract, and they had us over the barrel.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Or the Kunta Kinte clause that came, that's actually a worse one. That's where they say, okay, you got a choice, the root or the boot.
And you guys got the boot in that case.
Well, yeah,
You saw us limping, didn't you?
Being the good Devo we are, we took the boot, not the root.
So we disavow. we disavow any album that we ever did before this one. This is our first record, actually.
Is that really true? I mean, when you guys perform this time around, will you actually not be doing any of the older material? We won't be hearing any Mongoloids, Girl You Want?
Well, there'll be a lot of backward masking with all those things in there, but other than that, I can't promise you anything, really.
Will it be a planned set, or will we never know what to expect at a Devo show, 1988 style?
We try to do both, and that's the truth. We try to do something that where you wouldn't know what to expect, and it's planned.
For us, it's when things break down, we go to the next song,
Did you guys lose touch with each other at all after the original... I don't know if the band actually demised or not, but after you left, like we said, the music scene for a while, did you lose touch with each other, or have you always will be, very good friends?
Well, I don't think you could accuse us of being very good friends or anything like that.
I wasn't accusing, just merely suggesting.
Well, it's like how most relationships are in life, half of you doesn't like them and half of you loves them, and you'll do anything for them although you don't like them.
And we'll probably be in the same potato bin for a long time to come.
Yeah.
Is that positive or negative?
That's just Devo.
That's the theory of de-evolution, somewhat.
It's not a theory.
No?
No.
It's a way of life.
It's just a simple fact.
Okay, and so the new album came out, obviously, and you guys got a new label. So like you said, Mark, it's a rebirth. It's your first album. Very interesting fact is it's one of the first albums ever to come out on the dreaded DAT format, or actually all 4 formats being record, cassette, compact disc, and DAT. I actually saw it in a store the other day. Was very impressed with the way it looked, although the price tag didn't really impress me that much. You know, it was
How much was it?
It was over $30.
What?
Yeah.
For the DAT?
Yeah, when the players cost over $1,500.
Hey, why do
right
we
now.
only get 20 cents on it? Wait a minute.
We got that Elvis Presley deal. I knew it.
Yeah. The John Wayne clause again. Here it is. You know, you can't escape it. It's going to follow you throughout your.
You better believe it. That's the way it works.
Exactly.
All
Now-
silliness aside, it's a sad story.
Well, it is kind of a sad story with CDs, especially. I was talking to another friend about this, you know, the other day, about how it costs maybe $1, maybe $2 to manufacture a CD these days. Domestic companies are still selling them for, well, I don't know what the stores buy them from, but the stores pass them on to consumers for like $14.99. So somebody's making quite a pretty penny in the transactions there somewhere.
And we're here to tell you with all truthfulness it is not the artist.
I don't doubt it. I mean,
Well, look, that's how I paid for my 76 Dodge Dart. So,
mint condition, or can we? Is it
No, I
like New
don't
York
think
City
mint.
Cruiser?
it's a cruiser. It
Yeah.
looks like a Starsky and Hutch movie.
See, anybody who's ever signed a record deal knows there's these clauses that say that they own you for all formats heretofore unmentioned, unknown, and technologies uncreated from here to eternity.
That's right. Some of those formats are quite painful, I might add.
You're laughing. Everybody's laughing, but it's those. That's the language.
I don't know. I think a DAT for $30. Something about
It was
that's
over 30.
really good, though. I like that idea.
It's beautiful. It's a luxury item.
It's
and
something that
know.
you would buy for a machine that doesn't exist, and you'll pay $30 for it.
Just
I
to
think
have
that's
it, just to be
great.
the first person on your block to say, "Look, I've got one."
But isn't that
That's
the way
Devo,
Western?
isn't it?
That's the way
You've
Western
got one?
society works. That's what it's all about.
He's got one.
And do you have a player?
No, he doesn't have the. Okay. It's more expensive.
It's like when you read those articles about certain rural areas in South America where everyone has a TV set, a color TV set on crates with no electricity. They just put it in the hut and they look at it.
Well, that's the way it is at my house.
It's more of an artistic
mean by-
expression, you know. It's
an object.
Exactly, but it's used as an aesthetic, artistic thing, I guess.
The DAT is kind of like a platinum American Express card. Actually, not even that good.
Exactly. You can't go into a
It's one that
restaurant with a
doesn't work.
DAT and
You
you know.
can't get a deal on a room in Kauai.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got a couple copies of
if
the new
they
LP.
ever make a DAT.
Enigma graced us with a couple of copies of the new LP, which we've been giving away in correspondence with plugging the karaoke party tomorrow. But we also have 2 to give away tonight. You want to give those away now, or want to wait till a little later?
Now let's give them away now.
Okay. Do you have any kind of question you want to ask the listeners? Tickle
Here's the
their
first
minds.
question. What's the name of General Boy's son? First caller to get it right gets a. What do they get? Not even a CD, just an album.
Not even a DAT. Merely a slab of vinyl.
Ooh.
No extra
That's an
tracks,
insult.
no nothing. Exactly, but if you feel like being insulted with the new Devo LP, Total Devo, the number is 212-998. You said it, not me. 1818. That's 212-998-1818. It's a tough question. It seems like you got to be a true fan to know this one. What's the name of General Boy's first son?
Yes.
Okay, once again, 212-998-1818 if you'd like the new Devo LP, courtesy of Enigma Records, WNYU, and the band themselves. Here we go. So you guys will be taking these calls. Jerry and Mark will take the calls themselves, judging the winners. But in the meantime, we're going to listen to another track from the Total Devo
Howdy.
LP. This one is called Baby Doll on Club 89. WNYU's Club 89, Devo from the Total Devo LP with Baby Doll. That's the first track on side 1, I believe. Side 1, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. Okay, because I thought
That's true.
Don't Be Cruel ends that side, and for a second there I thought it ended the LP. So we were talking about you guys and your hiatus from the music business for a while. Didn't you do other endeavors, like do some art shows out in LA? And like I was asking you before, I was under the misconception that somebody from the band had actually started a restaurant, you know, because they used that in the publicity
Well, it's
way.
true that we worked. We washed dishes in a couple of
Yeah,
restaurants.
you
out in
bust
LA.
there, right?
Yeah, we bust.
Bust tables for a while.
Yeah, I always like that expression. Where did bus come from? I never understood.
Maybe
that.
those are initials. No, what is it?
I don't know. It's the big thing that I take to get across the George Washington Bridge so I can get to the subway and, you know, stuff like that. But are you very actively involved in the art scene? I mean, Mark, you were explaining, and on the cover of the Pass is a collection of all kinds of cute little toys that you most of you out there might have had when you were in your younger days. Some of you, if you're collectors, would still have some of these fine, fun objects. But you were saying you used that for an art show?
Well, Jerry and I met. We were in art school, actually.
Mm-hmm. And where was that? That was Ohio?
Back in Ohio, yeah.
Right.
Kent State University.
Really? Never got shot out by National Guardsmen or anything like that,
Yes,
did you?
I did.
You did,
Yes,
huh?
absolutely.
Want to tell us about that incident?
And actually, I don't, but I mean, no, because it was horrible.
What were you protesting?
But it
the high
did
cost
lead
of
me-
DAT?
It led me towards Devo. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
No, I knew 2 of the 4 people that were shot there pretty well.
Really?
And especially Allison Krauss, who came from somewhere in New York, upper state New York. She was only 19, and it was her first year in school. And I knew her pretty well.
So you were actually there at that time. I thought you
I
guys
was
would
about
be
30 yards from her.
Wow, I thought you guys would be a little post that incident, attending the school.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you the truth. Yeah.
That I'm wrong. Well, I didn't mean to dredge up any painful memories
We were
of the
actually
past.
about 45 years old at the time.
But you're in the process of de-evolution. You're
Well,
exactly...
I mean, maybe New Yorkers are used to seeing people shot with full metal jacket bullets from an M16, but I wasn't.
Well, we're used to, the Uzi spraying as the guys drive down the block. I mean, you thought Colors was an accurate representation of L.A., maybe accurate or not, but I mean...
No, but you do understand what blood does on a hot sidewalk on a hot summer day.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. But anyway, okay, so, let's talk about Ohio for a second. I mean, at first, all the press, when you guys came out, when Devo was originally formed, a lot of people were making a big thing about you being from Ohio and not too much creativity musically, especially coming out of Ohio at the time. So you guys were, I guess, one of a kind at that moment. But now you guys have pretty much transplanted out to the sunny West Coast, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, nobody knew what Ohio was when we first came out, and Ohio basically threw us out, so...
So now you got to make L.A. well known. I mean, since you already did it for Ohio, no one knows what Los
I
Angeles
think
is.
everybody likes to think that no creativity comes from anywhere but New York or Los Angeles, and that's obviously it's not true. It's like it has to be exported from somewhere, and it's farmed to the cities.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like oyster cloning or something. I mean, it's just a popular mythology because those places are so repressed and usually not fun that no one would believe that you could come from there and do anything. But obviously it's not true, and it never has been true. It's just a mythology that gets perpetuated, unfortunately.
Do you miss Ohio at all?
No.
Do you keep
It's a good place to be from. You're glad you're from there, and you say that when you're not there anymore.
Yeah, when you see other Ohioans, other Buckeyes out in New York or in L.A., it's always like, when you get out, kind of.
It's boot camp.
Really?
Boot camp for the world. If you can survive there, you can go anywhere.
Do you keep in touch with people back in Ohio, or are you in tune at all with what's going on there?
I hope not.
I have a question about Roosevelt High. Was it Roosevelt High?
We're getting a question about my high school here.
From the back.
Really?
That's it.
The artist of our album cover, his older brother went to Roosevelt High, apparently with members of Devo.
What was his name?
I have no idea.
So that's...
The nameless person from Ohio.
Exactly.
It's always that way.
I'm sure there's a few of them.
See if it was true.
Look in the yearbook for the guy without a picture.
Well, he said it was interesting.
A lot of good bands coming out of Ohio this day and age, believe it or not. I mean, there's this one guy, one-man band. His name is Mark Edwards. He goes under the name of My Dad Is Dead. Really good stuff. Very
I'm aware of
impressive.
him. Where is he from in Ohio?
I'm not exactly sure.
Cleveland?
I'm not, positive. I'm
Youngstown?
sure it's a big place too, but from what I understand, I know people who go to Kent State now and they say, "Oh, there's no good music ever coming out of Ohio. No new music at all." It's
A lot of them
completely
just
stale."
haven't heard My Dad Is Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Or many of the other bands that have been, coming out of there these days, putting out some very good music.
Well, Ohio's the last place to find out about music that starts in Ohio anyhow, so...
You got to read about it in Spin or Rolling Stone years later, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's the unfortunate truth that it's like there's a grudge element there, of course,
Mm-hmm.
because those people are getting out, so they don't want to admit it, and somebody else has to discover them.
Their term is up.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there is another question for another record here.
Okay, well, let's wait on that for a minute, because I just wanted to ask you a couple things about the new LP and the material on it. Has this material been around for a while, kicking around in the can, or is it brand new material just written, after the deal was struck? After you knew the record was coming
it's a
out.
combination of yes and no
It
to
was
both
kind of
of
like
those.
after we were struck by the deal, these songs kicked around in the can.
Something like
Kinda
that.
what happened.
Exactly.
Even though we had been bitten by snakes.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, of course, it represented a number of things that went on over a 2-year period from '86 to '88. Whenever we could get together to do something for a little bit of a time, from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of artists we get up here, we'll speak to them about their current material, and to them it'll be, very old because they'll have another 2 LPs worth of material written, ready to go, recording in the studio, and it's just interesting to see that point of view and their perspective of, what we consider brand new stuff for them to be, it's already old.
Well, I suppose we could take that attitude if we wanted, because, we have tape vaults and shelves and layers of tapes that if we wanted to call them songs and finished or whatever, we could say that, because we certainly have 10 times as many pieces of music as ever have come out on records on shelves in our studio.
But praise Bob, we're not a jaded bunch of guys, so we're just happy anything comes out, and it's always the first time for us.
Mm-hmm.
And our first album,
Of course.
And we wouldn't want to go back to that anyway. We wouldn't want to say, we didn't include those songs, so we wouldn't want to pretend we would.
Mm-hmm. And what will we be, are we going to see you in New York performing live, aside from the karaoke thing, in the near future? Or do you have a tour in store?
Somewhere in August, we think it's going to materialize.
Mm-hmm. Will you be doing a full-fledged U.S.
A 2-hour show and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. But, you'll be going to all kinds of cities around the country?
About 45 or 50 of
Really?
them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be one of those George Thorogood 50 cities in 50 days kind of treks?
Only a blues band can do that.
Yeah, right?
No, it won't be. It won't be that short.
It's more like a Barnum and Bailey 50
Circus?
and 75 days.
We play about 5 nights out of 7.
Mm-hmm. Can we expect the old spasmodic moves and dance things of yesteryear, or is it all progressive, new?
No, it all looks kind of like Julio in glasses. It's
really.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring him out on tour with you? Do a couple of, maybe he could win the karaoke party.